So now that we've talked about getting rid of decimals to solve our equations, let's do one. The first thing that I said to do was to make sure that you distribute and get rid of your grouping symbols. Get rid of those parentheses. So I'm going to do that distributive property now. Everything that I'm not using in my distributive property, I'm just going to write down just as it is. What I'm distributing is 1/10, 0.1, to this 1x. Remember my little spirit 1 right there? So 1 times anything is just that thing. So I get 0.1x. Then I have 0.1 times 3, which is, and it's a negative, so it's negative 0.3 is equal to 1.1. I just bring that part down. All right. So now that we got rid of our parentheses, the next step I said was to make sure that you get rid of your decimal point. And to get rid of the decimal point, here's what we do. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 terms in our equation. Out of those 4 terms, whoever has the most numbers behind the decimal point is the winner. That is the one that's going to determine how many places we move it to get rid of the decimal in the whole thing. So if I look here, 0.25, that one has 2 numbers, that one has 1, that one has 1, that one has 1. So the 0.25 has the most number of digits behind the decimal, so that's the one we're going to use. To make 0.25 into a whole number, I'm going to move my decimal point to the right 2 times. However many times it takes to make that be a positive, plain, whole number 25. So that becomes 25x. And what you do to one piece in this problem, you have to do across the board. So every one of these, I'm going to take my decimal point and I'm going to move it 1, 2 places. Now what happens here when you run out of spaces? We're going to add a 0. We always add zeros as our placeholders, okay, in case there's any missing values that we need. So that's what I have for that, 10x minus. My next piece, I move 2 places, 1, 2. I need a placeholder right there, so that's going to give me 30. And then my last piece, 1, 2. I need a placeholder right there, so that's going to give me 110. So now if you look at this, yes, the numbers are bigger, but at least they're all whole numbers. Okay, at least they don't have a decimal point that you have to worry about lining up, etc. So now all I have to do is follow the rest of the things that we say in all the other ones. Combine like terms, numbers on one side, letters on the other side, and divide. So let's do that. I have a 25x and a 10x that are on the same side of the equation, so I want to go ahead and do those first, collecting my like terms. That makes 35x. I'm bringing the rest of it down because I haven't used it yet. Now I'm down to my 2-step equation. My letters are on one side. Let's move that number to the other side with the 110. I'm going to do that by adding 30 because remember that's the opposite. We always do the opposite when we move across the equal. So I have 35x. The negative 30 and the positive 30 are opposites, so they add to 0, so we just cross them off. And that gives me 140. All right, now I'm fixing to go up here to the top so you can see me finish the rest of the problem. 35x is equal to 140. Now I'm going to do the opposite here, which is division. Divide by 35. Whoops, not the x, 35. And when I do that, 35 divided by 35 is 1, so that would be 1x. And then it depends on how good you are at reducing, how good you are at knowing your facts. If you want to reduce this, you can reduce it by 5. You can do long division, old school division, where you write the 140 inside the division sign. The 35 is your divisor, and you do division that way. You can reduce it as a fraction, whichever way makes you happy, most comfortable. The answer is 4. okay? If I were to reduce this as a fraction and you didn't know anything else, a 0 and a 5, both of those digits are divisible by 5, so you could divide everything by 5 and keep reducing and reducing and reducing till you get to 4. But 4 is your final answer. All right, that does it for our examples for multiplying with decimals, solving equations with decimals. Come back for another lesson in the next module.